I used to work in insurance.
More than anything, I want a championship team.
One of the questions that I asked myself was, what's the best use of my time for Premiere?
I sort of found a home within Premiere.
He ghosted me. Premiere, their live reactions are on.
This minute it's gonna make for a very easy win for Premiere.
Premiere will be your champions of the week.
Show up and play at the top level every single week.
Hey, you guys are probably wondering where I have been for the last 7 or 8 months, and what Premiere has been doing has been a huge secret, and we've been prepping and planning for something huge that we're gonna share with you today. Before we do that, we're gonna have to back up and talk to you about the timeline of what's happened since then. And we gotta go back to around May of last year. So previously, I don't know if you guys know this, I used to work in insurance. It was a really toxic job. It took 40 hours a week and I was miserable doing it and continuing to do Premiere. Around this time, we were activated in content creation and esports, and we were very active at the time, and my mental just kind of went in the tank. And I had been looking for another job for a long time, and finally picked up a different job that could support me without having me to work 40 hours, so that I could invest all of my time into Premiere and making Premiere, what we had dreamed it would be. So back in May, I had all this free time, right? I had an additional like 30 hours a week for me to work on Premiere, but I've never had this opportunity to treat Premiere like it was a full-time job. So one of the questions that I asked myself was, what's the best use of my time for Premiere, and how can I live up to the mission statement and, give people more opportunity and make Premiere a tier 1 organization like I dreamed it could be. So, I racked off a bunch of questions and options for me to choose from, like, is live streaming something that I want to do on Premiere? That's a means to some income and some more visibility, but I don't think that's probably the best choice. Do I go and try to go back and find some loans, which after about 12 denials and just wasted time, I didn't think that was a better opportunity either. So what we did is we really tried to reinvest our time into the structure and what we were really trying to accomplish. So I spent a lot of time from May to July doing networking events, going back and talking to investors that I had spoken to in the past. And funny story, one of the guys who had been on my radar since I started Premiere as one of the leaders in Atlanta, Rebranding, I hit him back up, right? And originally when I had reached out to him, he wanted me to do some animations for him. Don't know if you guys know this or not, but he was like, hey man, I see you do animations. Can you do some for me? And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And this was 2 years ago. He ghosted me. Never heard from him. That was the end of the story, right? So I was at a networking event and I met a guy named Ron, and Ron heard my story, heard about Premiere, and was like, you know who you need to meet? Rebranding. And that was my introduction back into meeting Mel. But for the last 7 months, it's been like this environment of getting to know a new potential investor. And when we first sat down, my intentions were not to pitch, an investment to this person. It was just, meet him, try to learn from him, and kind of just make a connection. And when I started talking about Premiere, he loved it. I think he was wearing a FaZe shirt that day, and he was like, nah, no more FaZe. We're gonna take over this city. So that to me was a really cool experience, and really from July to where we are now, it's been prepping and planning for taking this logo and making it this logo. So we're gonna be doing a big rebrand, and Logan's getting ready to join me, and we're gonna talk more about some of the things that we did from July to now, and we're gonna dive deeper into like what this rebrand means, what it means to both of us, and kind of what's up in the future. So when I quit my job, it really felt like to me that everything that I had worked towards was starting to become more of a reality. So it was a big relief to have this very toxic job out of my life, but also it was like a fire underneath me, and it was now or never. So the opportunity to set your own schedule and to be, truly be, the owner of a company, I had to really ask myself, like, what does that mean? So something that we say around here is, building the plane while it's flying. For a very long time, we had just been flying the plane and putting very little pieces on the outside of it. So this gave me and the rest of the, management the real opportunity to get organized and put some pieces on this plane so that, we could get it looking nice and ready for, what's here now. So if you guys have known me for a while, when you don't hear from me, some people might think that that's a bad thing, but if you know me, most people know that means I'm working. So when we had this very long period of no communication, or maybe some of the problems that you experienced with no feedback, or maybe the things that you wanted to do we couldn't do, like for instance our applications shut down over the summer, the thought process behind that was we got to get ready. So to the community, I want you to know I bleed Premier. You guys are Premier. I'm not. Premier would be literally nothing without the people that are involved in it. And I'm sorry if you felt like we were ignoring you, but you guys have been the shining star behind the scenes as we're talking to different people about Premier. So thank you for those who have stayed around. Thank you for believing in us. We definitely did you proud, and we are just so excited for the future with Premier. So some of the changes that have happened since June, we personally made an investment into Premier, and we started to act as if we were a Tier 1 organization. So for the first time in a long time, talking 3 years, we had some usable budget. So what we did is we tried to prepare ourselves for, a Tier 1 organization level structure. So that would involve like really sitting down and detailing descriptions and roles and responsibilities and organization. And we spent some of that money on getting into the pro league in the Apex scene, which is something that, if you've been around for a few years, has been, a big part of Premier. 2 years ago, we had 3 Apex teams competing at the same time. And now to say that after a year and a half of practicing that and working on our craft, making it into the pro league and finishing 7th in playoffs, let alone, is a really big accomplishment that we're all very proud of. But it's not just about the teams, it's about the whole structure of everything, right? So reworking the Rising and the Academy program was a big task, and something that, personally I did without really telling anybody was diving into that educational content that I've been wanting to make for so long with Hyperlux. And we've made 40 videos for educational purposes that are going to serve as academy content for people who don't know anything about esports or don't know anything about content creation. So that was a really big project, and really addressing the maybe the opportunities that actually present themselves at different levels within Premier, and making sure that we have enough support system for staff or volunteers to actually support those different teams. Bringing in some different staff means a lot to me. It first of all means that some people trust me enough to be employed at this organization. So we brought in Dan as a recruiter. We brought in Gigi, who's been kind of like an understudy. Lady K, who's been amazing at community management and socials for the last month or so. You know, Bacon Boy, you know, helping out with the graphics, and Jake, who is, my God, what a man. Just a genius when it comes to branding and esports in general. You know, every single person on the back end has been incredible. But Logan, I think, has a really, really unique story just for who he is and where he's come from. You know, as a 19-year-old, almost 2 years ago, meeting me in Premiere as probably, you know, a freshman and not really knowing a whole lot. We kind of did this journey together of making Premiere what it is today, and to see him come through and know what he knows now. I tell him all the time, there's only like, you know, less than 1,000 people that know what you know right now, and you should be really proud of that. So Logan kind of sprung it out of nowhere and said, hey man, I want to be a co-owner, and I want to invest my money, and you know, I really believe in this. And his parents support it, and he's all in, and he's always been all in. So, you know, obviously we're very thankful for that, but I guess should all be very thankful for Logan, who we'll speak to in just a second. So Logan, you've come aboard as a co-owner now, officially in January. I know I said earlier, it means a lot to me. What does it mean for you to kind of been a part of the journey for the last 2 years now almost, and you know, to be where you're at now? What does that mean to you, and you know, what was cool about it?
Well, for me, initially when I came on 2 years ago, I sort of found a home within Premiere, and for a long time I've just been growing and just learning about Premiere and like what I can do, and really just building myself up. So when the time came, I saw an opportunity to really become established in it and really establish this as a home. And I felt like it was time and it was necessary for me to start taking on responsibility.
Are you proud of what we've done? Like how does it make you feel to know that you're a co-owner now, and we have a pro Apex team, and you know, we have, you know, essentially done what we've been dreaming about doing for 2 years, and we've always talked about. And for me, I know it's like ridiculous. Like, to be honest with you, I still don't feel like it's real. And I tell people outside of Premiere, like, you know, when they ask what I do, I'm like, look, it's crazy what we do. I'm not prepared, I don't think, for the future. I mean, I'm a little scared, to be honest, of the opportunities that are going to come across this organization, but I'm so eagerly, anxiously scared.
Yeah.
And just excited. So, do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I think it's sort of incredible what we've done and what we've been able to accomplish so far with just the little that we've had. And to say that we have a pro team and for them to finish 7th, I think it just sets the standard for how we have to be in the future. So right. I think it's something that we weren't prepared for, was just setting that standard across the board, and that's something that we have to do now. So I think to have the fear of failure does not exist for me. I think it's the fear of success and not being prepared.
Yeah, I would agree.
So when you say like all these opportunities, I think it's exciting, but we also have to prepare for them. So.
And I'm the type to just dive straight in, into everything, and just, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it before, but I will go and I'll give it my best, you know, and if we fail, we fail.
Yeah.
And that's been literally the approach since day one. It's like, I don't know how to do this, but we're gonna find out, right?
Exactly.
Oh, that's funny.
Like if you ask me a question, I don't know the answer, I'm gonna tell you I don't know. I'm gonna figure out the answer.
What would you say has been like the one moment that maybe like you realized that, hey, whoa, like this is a big deal, like this is different, right? I've been getting a lot of messages about like, you know, hey, like, so proud of you for sticking to, you know, your dream and the vision and just staying committed to it for this time. It didn't really hit me that, you know, this rebrand meant so much more, probably until around like November. I think around November, you know, we just started meeting some of the other staff, you know, that are behind the scenes doing like business development and stuff. I started meeting them, and that's when it was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is next level, right?
Yeah, I would say when we had our first like in-person meeting with the whiteboard and we established what we're doing, what we're
What we're
and
good at.
what we're good at, what we're bad at, and really just putting our mission statement on the whiteboard and we all saying that at the same time, I think it really just set the tone of what we're capable of and where we're going. And that was just like an eye-opener for me. I was like, this is real. I've never been in anything like this, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade all the heartache and all of the continuous sleepless nights for anything to be where we are and be where we're at now.
Yeah, I can't say how incredibly fortunate we are. Like, for our Apex team to do as good as they have, the staff that we have, the opportunities that we've been given, I don't think as many people get as lucky as we are. I mean, obviously preparation comes with opportunity, but at the same time, some of these opportunities are just, it's absurd.
Something that Mel and I talk about a lot is, you know, when you have something that's like really hard that happens to you, right? Like you lost your grandma, Mel lost his son, you know, doing Premiere, it has been really hard. Something that Mel and I talk about a lot is like, these things are not, you know, they're meant to shape you and prepare you. And me and you talked about this. You remember when I asked you, like, could you imagine if we had this now, like a year and a half ago? Like,
Yeah.
we would not have been ready.
No, it would have been a terrible
It
idea.
would have been a train wreck. It would have been awful.
If we had a pro team back in the day, that would have gone terribly.
No.
And I still don't think we're fully prepared for everything,
No.
and we can't be. I mean,
I just
but-
started using my calendar like strictly like 2 months ago.
yeah.
So yeah, no, we wouldn't have been ready. And
So I'm thankful for having the luxury of having time to make these mistakes and learn from them.
yeah, and we're super thankful for everybody who's, you know, believed in the brand and been right there with us. I think I want to talk about what the rebrand means to Atlanta and talk about the logos and kind of the colors and maybe something we're excited about doing. So to me, the rebrand of the original P to the new one was meant to be like a refresh, right? When I first did this, we hadn't met anybody, right? I just knew that I wanted something new, right? And we've rebranded 3 times?
Yeah, name change 3 times.
Name change, official rebrand once.
Right.
Complete rebrand. And it was meant to just be like a refresh, right? We would see our logo up there on the leaderboards and on Liquipedia and stuff with like TSM and Team Liquid and G2, and we're like, ooh,
Yeah.
our logo kind of looks shitty. Kind of looks bad up there. So shout out to Ben Simmons for doing a great job on the new logo. I know he worked really hard on it. He's been working with Subliners, if you didn't know that, and Rectify a little bit to do like merchandise and stuff for them. But I think he did a great job with the logo. I know you weren't like sold on some of the colors that we chose, like the gold.
Initially, no.
How do you feel about it now?
Now I love it.
The gold is awesome.
I think really just when we gave those logos and those colors to Jake and he just really shaped them and really created a vision for like what those are and like put meaning behind that, I think it changed the way I looked at it completely.
Yeah, so he came out and said Premier Red, right? That's like the red color. The City Gold, I think is what he said, or City Yellow, and Flashbang White were the color names.
Yeah.
I thought that was, you know, really clever. I never heard anybody put a noun or verb in front of a color like that and like give it like
It gives it power.
it gives it like a realism though.
Yeah.
It's like, it's cool. And you know, there's so many plans for like merchandise and we got some cool stuff coming that you guys will see later, but you know, I thought it was pretty cool. What does it mean for like the city of Atlanta to have an esports team that's like homegrown, right? No offense to all the other esports teams, but they're not from Atlanta. We're from Atlanta, from the city. And what do you want to do with like that title? Because that's a lot.
Right.
We're putting ourselves up with Atlanta Braves and Atlanta Falcons. What does that mean to you? Like giving it justice, doing it justice.
I think really with the rebrand, we wanted this to become more of like a household name. It's not just in Atlanta, but for Georgia specifically. And Atlanta just is our home, and so we felt like it was necessary for that to be it. And really, we're just going to do more things that we can to help the city, to establish talent that's in the city and help them grow, and really just foster esports in Atlanta. So like we said, this rebranding it's more than just a change of logo or a change of name. It's really something not just for the city, but just for the organization as a whole. We're not just rebranding, but we're revamping. Like our content, our esports teams, basically we unintentionally set a standard and we have to meet that standard across the board.
I think meeting that standard means that we're going to have different expectations of each other, different expectations of the team, but it's a two-way street. I think people can expect the same from us. And something that I've struggled with a long, long time has been titles, definitions, and expectations. I'm just not that person. I'm a very compassionate person. I let stuff slide way too often. So some stuff that you can expect from, myself is the organization, the communication, and the support system from the staff has been completely reworked, and a lot of the, maybe small things that, you wish you had or, you wish we had done, I think are more feasible and possible now, because we have the right people in place to make those happen. And we have a great team to, organize content shows and, getting out content for each of our members, players, even our staff. Logan's been working really hard at, recruiting some different people for some various, some Apex shows, some Valorant shows, just some fun stuff. And for me, the reason why that expectation had to be there was because of an embarrassing conversation that I had to have. It was, with somebody who doesn't know anything about gaming and esports, and they were like, what's the business model? Like, what is it? I was like, well, it's like content, right? Content is king. And we didn't do content justice, last year because we were, working on other things. So this year, content is king. And we're gonna make sure that we champion that. And we're gonna make sure that everything that we do has got that quality and standard that you can expect from a city team, like a franchise model team.
Exactly. And something I've done, and this isn't just like with the rebranding, but throughout, is just to start on that organization, like building structure and doing anything we can just to get things going and build those foundations. So with the Apex team, of course, like doing super well, I think that's sort of, I keep saying standard, but I think that's really just laid the foundation of where we should be across the board. So what I'm going to do now is start becoming more of a leader when it comes to the organization and being a face in the community, volunteering, and really just spending time in our community and helping as much as I can. And not only that, but helping our players as much as I can. More than anything, I want a championship team. And
Let's go.
More than anything, I want a championship team and for a team to really champion the name Premier, because what it means is to be number one.
So a goal of mine, if you guys didn't know this, that I've had for a long time, is I really want a big ass trophy full of beer dumped all over me when we win a championship. I don't know why. That was something that came to me like years ago, and I was like, that would be awesome, right?
Yeah.
On stage, just dumping, right? Like a hockey, cup, right? I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think for me, it's just seeing the development of players, and when they get to the point where they win, and you can just see it on their faces, it's just that's what I'm looking for.
Definitely.
So it may not happen immediately, but we promise we're gonna work towards getting a championship team.
Some other things that you can expect to see in the next couple months. We have some partnerships in progress, so stay tuned for a lot of new educational partners, some new charity partners, and as you guys saw on the 22nd, some music partners. So guys, the last 7 months have been one of the hardest, most labor-intensive periods that I can remember in my entire life. Everything that we've been working towards has been well worth the investment of time, energy, money, everything. And we're just so excited for, the opportunities that are gonna come across this organization and sharing that with, with our community and, the home team. So thank you guys.